Alright, let's make a thongophone. Hey guys, Josh from Kaboom here. Let's have a closer look at our thongophone. If you haven't seen it in action yet, you can check it out here. Now this process actually began about a year ago when we built our Mark I thongophone, which looks a little bit like this. So for this one, the idea was to make a wearable instrument, so it needed to be quite light. So this project began with a trip to our favorite instrument store, the hardware store. So we found this flexible pipe, which sounds pretty good. And we found these end caps that we could put on so that it would have a nice playing surface. And we found these great garden trainer frames that we connected together and wrapped them around and secured them all with cable ties, which worked pretty well. And we made some mallets out of these kids' floor tiles. Now the instrument worked pretty well in theory. It was portable, I could wear it, it was pretty lightweight, but because of the flexible pipe it was hard to get a consistent tone. So I'd be out there on stage really going for it and sort of getting a pretty mediocre sound. So we shelved that idea, and a few months later we began working on Thongophone Mark II, which means back to the hardware store. So we took our mallets with us, tried a few different gauges of pipes, and found that we liked 3 different gauges. The 70mm, the 65mm, and the 55mm. Now we knew that this thongophone needed to be portable because we take our school show all across the world. So the 55 fits in the 65, which fits in the 70mm. Kat had the brilliant idea of building it to fit inside a suitcase. So we went to the shops, found this sweet suitcase. That blue. And this gave us a really good starting point for figuring out how many notes we could have and how big we could make it. We also came up with this U-shaped rig that would fit really well in the bottom of the suitcase. Now the original idea was that we would play the thongophone in the suitcase, so we added a length to the U-shaped rig so that the note would come out high enough from the suitcase that we could comfortably play it. Now we discovered we could fit 6 of these U-shaped rigs in either side comfortably, so we ended up with a 12-note instrument. So with 12 notes in total, we figured it'd be good to have one side that could play bass, one side that could play melody, and we had a jam on the piano picking 6 notes each, and found that it was kind of best to have these notes. So this means we can easily play chord 4, chord 5, chord 6, and chord 1, which is great for lots of chord progressions for the bass player, and you've got mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do for the treble player. Now pitch-wise, the U-shaped rig with the play pipe in it sounded like a pretty good B. So this gave us a good starting point for our highest note, and we built down from there. It took a little bit of brain work to run all the numbers on this. We knew from the boomwhackers we had the rough length that we needed to make, but because of that U-shaped rig, it was kind of hard to measure exactly how long it was. So it was a little bit of trial and error. We would cut the pipes too long and then trim them off 1 or 2 centimeters at a time until we had the right note. Yes! A little tip, if you are going to make your own one of these, start with the longest pipes first in case you do what I did and cut one too short, because then that can now become your next note down. We came up with the idea of mounting them side by side using these foam inserts, and we connected everything together with elastic bands. Pretty much everything in our show is held together by elastic bands, Velcro, and gaffer tape. Now, as I mentioned, the original idea was that we would play the thongophone within the suitcase, but we discovered that the case itself made a really great bass drum sound. So we decided to use the case as a stand for half the thongophone and attach a bass drum pedal so that we would have a bass drum. We also found this very cool flexi pipe, which just happens to retune one of our bass notes perfectly so that we can play things like Seven Nation Army. We ended up making some bigger mallets as well because we were now dealing with a bigger gauge of pipe, and it was actually really helpful to get a better sound. So that was our Mark I mallet, and that bad boy is the Mark II, bigger and better. We also added these little foam inserts which go between the pipes, which stop the taller pipes from falling over into each other. So we played around with a few different original ideas and some covers, and then put them together into a medley like you saw in the video. So that's pretty much all there is to show you about our thongophone. We hope you enjoyed seeing a bit of the process of how it was put together. If you end up making one of these yourselves, please send us a video or a photo. We always love to see when people are inspired to build instruments after seeing them on our channel. As always, a huge thank you to our Patreon supporters who help us make these videos. If you'd like to join our Patreon family, you can check out the link here. And if you haven't already, we would love it if you would subscribe to our channel. We just hit 300,000 subscribers, which is super cool. And now we begin the slow slog to 400,000. Have a great day, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!